Hey everyone, Arthur Fantastic here, aka Johnny Icicles, aka John Doe, the toe tag snow. And today we're going to be talking about a video that I had previously mentioned on this channel on the several J-Rod band vids. This vid was posted to Ali Wolski's story, and I thought it brought up a couple of points that would add to the greater conversation that we're having here, because this conversation isn't just about J-Rod's masturbatory habits or the offended and physically ill. Oh man, I haven't got to that video yet. That's going to be one of the next videos on this channel, is discussing the ex's statement on J-Rod. But I digress. Guys, if you like the material, like, comment, subscribe, get in the comments. If you don't agree, fuck you. No, I'm just joking. If you don't agree, that's fine. I respect your opinion, and it would be a good place to have this conversation under calm terms. You know, I think a lot of people, including this guy, are very how could I put this? They oversimplify things, and in the end, because of their oversimplification, end up being pedantic. And this really pedantic view of things is more dismissive than it is anything, and it just actually stunts conversation. If you want to follow me on IG, Arthur Fantastic on IG, 1K instead of IC, holler. And in fact, I think this guy's name is like Roman Next. I'll put his ad throughout the video when his video is playing. And in fact, why don't we look at that video and we'll respond to it afterward, you know what I mean, point by point. But once again, just to finish this intro, there's a conversation that needs to happen beyond J-Rod's stuff and his ex, who I will have a video on about that soon. But we also need to talk about the interdynamic between men and women on the mat. You know what I mean? And should there be any type of review on what's happened, or are we just good to go on what we have going here? And I think that some people may need to rethink things. I think a lot of places don't. I think where I am at, where we roll with whoever is available and go at it, like, it doesn't matter who the fuck you are, you need to be able to protect yourself. That is a good way to approach things. But when you have situations like we were talking about at B Team, and there's people dating, I guess, at that team, and there's a number of its own pros and cons that we don't address, because this culture and the current societal mores of what we think in regards to SA and the situations that occur, we can't have these conversations. It's always quick to shame men. It's always quick to be like, come on, man, what are you, a creep? What are you, a creep? And I think that there is a lot to talk about in terms of the archetypical type of person that will jump down on someone else without like really knowing what's going on or thinking about it, or even applying an actual standard that is fair, not only to the other person but to themselves, so that they're not in a spot of hypocrisy. Because who the fuck likes a hypocrite? And it just comes at a weird time. I know that the context of this video is he's responding to people commenting on the previous video. So we'll listen to it, and then I'll see you on the other side.
So a bunch of dork incel virgins are commenting on my last post about rolling with the opposing sex. First of all, it shouldn't even be an issue to roll with the opposite gender. If you feel uncomfortable doing so, that probably means you're a creep. Alright, next point, all the people at B Team are training in a professional setting. No one's there to hook up with you, dude. You smell bad. And honestly, you should be able to roll with everyone. Women, children, people that are smaller than you, people that are much larger than you. If you can't do that, it just means you're not technical, dude, and you need to get better at jiu-jitsu. Peace and love, everyone. Stay safe.
Now, I think that's a pretty flippant response to anyone that has any type of concern of rolling with the opposite sex. Now, like I said, and I want to preface again that I roll with whoever. I don't give a fuck. And I think that most people should be able to do that, especially gym rats like this guy and myself should be able to roll with anyone. You know what I mean? But I think there's a level of nuance that needs to be addressed here. And with the timing, with its proximity to what's happening over at B Team with J-Rod, and my previous statements, as I've discussed, about should we talk about some level of separation and limitation between the sexes rolling? Some, not all, not at all. And I can also see there being reasons to completely separate it. And that is the prerogative of the gym and that gym culture that they are trying to cultivate. But here we just are going to discuss a more nuanced approach than what he is discussing, and we're going to use some of his talking points to jump off here, give it a little critique. You know what I mean? I think the guy's heart is in the right place. You know what I'm saying? But the execution could have been better, and the points being made are, as I said, pedantic, which is shallow. It's like very surface level. It's very dismissive. And I think he gives people who say dude a lot a bad name. It's like dudes like this who are very like, dude, just like, whatever pop reference and, normal accepted thing that everyone says that is not in any way going against the grain that everyone believes must be right? So just, let me shame you into that position. Why aren't you believing how I believe? And then he said dude like a whole bunch of times. Like, I know dudes, all right? I know fellas that say dude a lot and are very well spoken, and that's their parlance. They like to say dude, okay? But this guy saying dude so often as a little space taker upper space holder, thank you. Sorry. And it could have been better. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we could give a little critique on the execution of how we did the video there. But like I said, I think his heart's in the right place. Seems like another kindred soul in the gym rat era. So no hate here. We're just gonna go through this video.
So a bunch of dork incel virgins are commenting on my last post about rolling with the opposing sex.
So he immediately exposes his approach in bad faith by first framing his opposition as dork incels, which is essentially just rhetoric. There's like no point to it other than you just want to make fun of them and set the audience against them. And then next he just dismisses all that they said. He just says they're dork incels that are talking about a general subject, but he does not address a single one of them. Instead, he insults them.
First of all, it shouldn't even be an issue to roll with the opposite gender. If you feel uncomfortable doing so, that probably means you're a creep. Alright?
Again, all that is rhetoric. There's no actual argument there. It's the lack of one. And only a creep would try to camouflage themselves by making sure that everyone knows their moralistic stance and virtue signal so that they could actually be a creep, like undercover. Like only a creep would say that. You see how unnecessary rhetoric is just kind of like frustrating? Not to lay into the young whippersnapper, but the little pencil mustache, the oversized bucket hat, and dark sunglasses isn't helping with the creep vibes. But I understand why I would need to virtue single in a position like that. But anyway, not helping himself on that. Anyway, we look at the overall general population, and we can see several reasons why men might not want to roll with the opposite sex, beginning with the most obvious being several of the more conservative religious beliefs and systems do not allow like the touching of the opposite sex other than in the marital bed. So the sects, that's sects, of certain religions will go like really hardcore into that type of belief. Not my belief, but that is their belief, and I think they should be respected and free to believe and do that and practice as they want. Like I shouldn't they think they should be shamed and forced to roll with the opposite sex if they believe in their religious belief that they shouldn't. I mean, and are prohibited to. And I've seen people from all belief systems go one of those two ways. Like, oh, I can roll with anyone, or oh, I can't roll with anyone. And you just got to respect individuals. This is a martial art. This is for individuals. Not everybody is doing things the way that you want them to do it, unless like we come up with unified culture and standard, which we don't have. And so you shouldn't be judging anyone just frivolously and dismissively because you have jiu-jitsu and grappling brothers out there and sisters that believe these type of things because of their belief system. You know what I mean? Or are we willing to just offend those people? Fuck them. Now that's an internal reason. Like now we have like external reasons, and there's a lot more externals than I can think of internals. But guys, in the comments, if you have more ideas of internal reasons why you would want to separate yourself from the opposite sex, go ahead and comment down below. And you can clarify if you don't believe that or not, but coming up with philosophical ideas, being able to put yourself in a belief that you don't hold yourself is one of the keys to empathy and understanding between people. So that being said, some external reasons might be, well, what happens if a guy, okay, these dork incels, who you call, what you call them, probably not all of them are. There are tons of men that have, for instance, overly jealous wife. Any person that spent any time with women would know that women get jealous, right? Like people, we know this, right? And they make commercials about it. Like who is that on the phone? It's Dave from Allstate or whatever, State Farm. Oh yeah, we'll put him on the phone. Like, okay, so that's just, and like we know that they are toxic couples, and we know that there are reasons outside of a man and his own feelings on the matter that may not be always a like, oh, she's gonna find out or whatever like this, but just the possibility of mentioning that in a conversation or her hearing about that will set her off. And that's a problem. That's a problem with a lot of women, and that's something that needs to be taken care of. But no one wants to really call out that type of behavior. It's a joke. In fact, it's a joke, and people think it's endearing. So there's one external factor. Another external factor outside of I guess might be an internal factor outside of religious belief. It's just the person being comfortable or not. Like, are they comfortable with that type of thing? Are they are they are they feeling some type of social anxiety or uncomfort for whatever reason? Are we supposed to force them then? You know, sometimes getting people to, when you're going into jiu-jitsu and martial arts, it's hard to get them to really like understand like all the positions and like not be so like, oh, north south, that's what's north south. I mean, for a guy that's teaching something called the freak grip, not and that's not a joke, like it's an actual grip. You grip the butt of the person in north south. You grip the butt of the person in north south. Um, you know, that is could that a guy might feel uncomfortable doing it to a chick, you know what I mean, in a setting where his crotch is in her face, and there's other people around, and XYZ, some of a person's bodily responses are just that. Body, it has nothing to do with their head, they just respond, okay? And the auto something response, and that's up to, once again, the person's prerogative to. I think that we shouldn't judge that person if that's how that is for them, if they feel some type of discomfort or whatever. Let them choose that. I don't think they need to be fucking shamed. I think that which may be the case for the people, and why I think that his video is not all bad is because maybe some of the people that are like commenting on his post are like making like really like incel-y like fucking arguments and stuff like that, or maybe he's just a really like inundated in a gym rat, modernity type of guy, that he doesn't see all of these possible factors that would be and should be considered when making statements like this. Because when you just call anybody that doesn't roll with the opposite sex a creep, then you're like unnecessarily shaming a lot of people for reasons that you should at least consider if they are legit or not before just making broad strokes like that. I think that's an unfair statement. I think that you should be able to choose for yourself who you fucking roll with, unless you're in a gym where the coach is saying, okay, you are with you, like each roll session, you with you, you with you, you with you, you with you. You know what I'm saying? There are reasons why a person would not want to roll with the opposite sex, and that's should be left up to them. No need to unnecessarily shame them. And there's one last reason why a man might not want to roll with the opposite sex. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called lying, because women will lie. You know what I'm saying? And in the gym culture I'm in, I trust everyone there. Okay, I wouldn't roll with them if I didn't. You know what I'm saying? And there has to be trust there. But what happens if you don't trust what might happen between you and another person to not be misconstrued as something and then be lied on? People are banned for less. Okay? People are banned for a lot less. Okay? And so, I mean, we're talking about the J-Rod situation where we're banned for having a folder. You know what I mean? Well, okay. That's, now we're getting into this like weird gray area of what is okay and what's not okay. Okay. I don't know. I would, in my situation, if I had a gym, I'd ban them based on my morals, which I can give you a whole, this is the reason, you know what I mean? There could be also space for reconciliation and apology, you know what I mean? If the parties involved want to be, or like, and I think that with what we're seeing here, I think there should and could be reconciliation. because there was nobody fucking infected from all the statements. We'll get to that in another video, because I know a lot of my viewers have been watching this because of the J-Rod stuff. So, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate anyone taking the time to get through this video. But to finish this point, women lie, men lie too, you know what I'm saying? But men are completely laughed off and dismissed in any type of, to a large degree, are dismissed when they make any allegation of emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. That is kind of baked into the model that we have now called the Duluth model, but it's also baked into, the way that the system and society has made it seem, and it's not men's fault if they're abused, you know what I'm saying? So, and if a woman lies, they can use the collective, they can use the system, they can use the group to punish them for whatever reason, whether it's just because they don't like men, or they genuinely misconstrued something. There's a whole spectrum of reasons why a person might lie or say something that they don't know is a lie, and that cause a fallout for a dude that might end his entire fucking career, if not fucking life, because someone misconstrued something. So to completely, absolutely eliminate that possibility, they say, I don't want to roll with the opposite sex. That's their choice. That's their meta. That's their strategy for life. They've decided that. And I guess in your fucking school of thought, well, he's just a creep. You know what I mean? And I get to call him a creep because he does that. Because he's made that life decision. And, they might be fine with rolling with women, but they'd rather just completely eschew any type of possibility of something misconstrued. Okay, so that's their, once again, their prerogative, and that's their free choice to make. And this whole, like, they're all creeps if you don't want to, is, I think that's an unfair judgment. And I think that's really the crux of the whole fucking thing, which was just a rhetorical thing. And so, as I use this point that he's making as a jumping off point for us having a mental experiment here, you know what I mean? We're going through a scenario and at least giving some more depth and understanding to what other people might fucking be feeling or thinking, or have their own reasons, because they're their own human beings. And fucking, calling people creeps is a fucked up thing. If I just fucking call this guy a fucking creep with a pedo stash, like, what, like, is that going to make him fucking feel good? No. But I think that's what he's doing to everyone that might fucking disagree with him. And I know that that he really thinks this way, and that maybe he's never even had any of these thoughts, but maybe he just doubles down and fucking wants to, insult people because he wants to fucking. I think that if we're gonna be martial artists and try to be philosophical, I think that the philosophical reasoning and logical basis has to be fair. There has to be a level of fairness, okay, and justness. And if we refuse to see any other viewpoint, there can not be such things. But yeah, let's that's basically most of what I wanted to say. But we're going to go through the rest of this video and finish it out. Closing thoughts. What's going on? You know what I mean?
Next point, all the people at B Team are training in a professional setting. No one's there to hook up with you, dude. You smell bad.
Now, I can appreciate the smelly comment. That's hilarious. While juvenile and a bit derivative, it is kind of funny, especially with the delivery. So props on that one. But professional, all right, let's get this straight. This isn't a corporate office professional, okay? These are professional athletes, and professional athletes hook up all the time. Just ask the Olympians at the Olympic Village, okay? But more so to the point here, wasn't J-Rod dating someone on the team? Don't people inside the grappling culture sometimes end up being in relationships. And I think that you can't really say, "Oh, we're professional," like you're a fucking office and you've signed disclosure agreements, and you can't hook up with your fucking coworkers, which people in corporate settings still do anyway. So, the whole this is a professional atmosphere. Yeah, dude, calm down. It's jiu-jitsu. It's a really open atmosphere. Don't act like it's more than it is. People fucking come and go, and there is no fucking written code of corporation or professionalism. You're fucking fighters. It's the most loosest of it's the most loose of like understandings of what we're allowed to do here. You know what I mean? And it was even more so understood of like no one like I should like when it was more of a only guys were doing this. Now there's a lot more women coming to the sport, and that's a good thing. But professionalism, you're fighting other people. You know what I mean? And if you're professionally trying to pursue fighting other people, it's not all suits and ties. All right, professionalism. I'm not a suit and tie guy anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You're trying to make it seem like, oh, we're a professional team. Like you're fucking Jordan in the finals wearing a fucking suit to the fucking stadium and fucking no. Let's not overestimate ourselves here.
And honestly, you should be able to roll with everyone. Women, children, people that are smaller than you, people that are much larger than you.
I agree with that statement. He's right. Delivered well. It's a good point. He doesn't really argue it so much, but I think that is a true statement. Do I think that he argued it well? No. But do I agree? Yes.
If you can't do that, it just means you're not technical, dude, and you need to get better at jiu-jitsu. Peace and love, everyone. Stay safe.
Peace, love. Undercover creeps love saying peace, love after being completely passive aggressive and calling other people creeps. Anyway, the whole peace, love, he did not approach any of this conversation with peacefulness or love. And I actually, to get the screenshot that I used for this guy, I fucking scrolled really quick through the fucking comments, and it's like, I didn't see any of the things that you're talking about. Or is he deleting the comments? I mean, I'm not going through all the goddamn comments. There's not even that many, but still, I'm not fucking going through all that. If you can't see people having other fucking reasons than being a creep for not rolling with the opposite sex, then you're just being a obstinate asshole, and you're unnecessarily shaming a whole bunch of people that have their own reasons. And those reasons, well, internal or external or interweaved in internal and external, because I was saying that internal was like religion, but it's also kind of external because it's outside of yourself. It's a standard outside of yourself that you're appealing to. So I mean, these other reasons why you wouldn't roll with the opposite sex, you can't just discount them and say you're a creep. And the way that he's going about it, he's literally doing that. And I really question the timing of this post, because I don't see very much in the actual comments of incel, just a lot of people saying weird timing or commenting on the timing. And that's like the majority of what I saw. Timing. That's basically what everybody was talking about, or people talking about J-Rod. So this is just a video that is like a joke and has nothing to do with J-Rod, is a quote from this guy. But this has nothing to do with you, and you release it during this, you might construe it as having to do with him. Oh, look, we might be able to misconstrue something. I mean, but seriously, you could say that we are all misconstruing it, but the timing and the algorithm really isn't saying the same as you're saying. Oh, this just happened to be the time that I dropped this. And because people in the fucking comments, all of whom I saw, were talking about the timing and the J-Rod ban. Anyway, that all being said, let me give you a closing thought. Ultimately, I think that this was a good opportunity to have a conversation about this topic. And I would like to know where you fall in the comments below. You know what I mean? Can you understand why some people might not do it? Do you guys think that it's necessary to shame others into doing what they might hold as uncomfortable or against their beliefs? Should we force everyone to do the same thing, or are we allowed to have our own path in the martial arts? Prayers up to everyone. No hate on this guy. Just a little bit of rhetoric barbs, which he is obviously comfortable with throwing out against other people. Thought I might just throw some myself. I enjoy it. It's fun. Well, this is enjoyable. Did you enjoy the video? How are we doing? What's up? What's going on? Like, comment, subscribe. Supposedly when I say subscribe, the subscribe button, like, it makes like a little explosion in some of the apps, like tablets and stuff. Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat? What a neat little thing. I don't know if they do that anymore. But by the time you watch this video, maybe, who knows? So once again, thank you guys for watching all the way through. Thank you for all the people new to the channel. Thank you. Welcome. We're talking about stuff that people don't want to talk about here, but we also talk about karate combat, catch wrestling, judo, specifically catch wrestling and catch wrestling history. But there's a lot to go around. There's a lot to talk about, and I think that nuance is a really important thing to have. Look out for another video on the X's statement that she just put out yesterday, the 11th or 12th. I am not going to look at the calendar right now. And or maybe the 13th. I don't even know at this point. She put it out. It's on Craig Jones's profile. I took some screenshots. I'll respond to it when I get a chance. I've got my own things going on, but I've got also things in the chamber. For those interested, subscribe button. Thank you. And as I always say, stay up, stay vigilant, stay locked and loaded, stay brutal, y'all. Shalom, shalom, peace.